Do you wonder if you're the best version of yourself? This is the question we seek to answer in this podcast. We reveal information that helps you recover your health and become resilient. Modern life makes us fragile. Our diet, lifestyle, and environment set us up for failure. We do not accept this. We seek optimization. We strive to become dynamic. Hey, what's going on? Dr. Chris here, and today I'm going to be talking about metabolism. There are clues in your blood work that can tell you if you have a fast or slow metabolism, because I frequently hear people say, oh, I have a slow metabolism, or mine's fast. I always just wonder, what are they basing that on? Is it a feel? Well, it turns out you can kind of figure this out in your blood work. The only problem is your typical blood work is not very comprehensive, and they will typically only pull TSH. TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, comes from the pituitary gland, so it's from the brain. So it's not actually being released by a thyroid. So when the thyroid, it's actually an inverse marker. So when the thyroid needs to be stimulated more, TSH goes up. So that's a sign that your thyroid is being slow or sluggish or hypothyroid. If you have too much activity going on, something like Graves' disease or hyperactive or hyperthyroid, TSH goes down. So TSH is an expression of the need for the thyroid to be stimulated. So that's clue number one, TSH. So again, if it's low, you have a fast thyroid. If it's high, you have a slow thyroid or metabolism. But there's more to it than that, which we're about to get into. So once TSH is excreted by the pituitary gland, then T4 or thyroxine is produced by the thyroid. That's the raw version of your thyroid hormone. I think of it like diesel gas. It needs to be refined and become T3, and that's the active form of your thyroid hormone. So T4 becomes T3, and that enters the cells and signals to them to produce energy, regulate your body temperature, support processes such as heart rate, digestion, fat oxidation. So I think of the thyroid kind of like a thermostat of the body. So the health of your metabolism is really about your effectiveness of converting T4 into T3. And that conversion happens in the peripheral tissues and the liver. So it can reflect a bigger and broader metabolic condition rather than just a primary thyroid problem. So what types of factors influence this conversion? So first of all, you have to have enough calories. A lot of people sort of suppress calories too much. I am a fan of fasting, but too much fasting too often is technically a stressor, and that can slow down or deter the efficiency of T4 or T3. You have to have sufficient protein. There's key micronutrients such as selenium, iron, and zinc. Those all support the enzymes that are responsible for the conversion of T4 to T3. Other things such as chronic stress, inflammation, illness, low-calorie dieting, which I just mentioned, they all can suppress this process along with any kind of gut issues. So look at your T4. If it's elevated and your T3 is low, that means you're converting poorly and your metabolism has slowed down. If that's the case, you may be having some stalled weight loss, fatigue, cold sensitivity. Those are all typical signs. And this is, by the way, free T4 and free T3. That's what I'm talking about. There's also something called reverse T3. So it's kind of the opposite of free T3. If free T3 is the gas pedal, reverse T3 is the brake. So if you see reverse T3 go up and free T3 go down, that's a bad sign. So how do we improve this conversion? Well, it's nothing exciting. It's all the usual things that you're supposed to do in life. Sleep well, limit stress, make sure you have a healthy, functioning gut, reduce inflammation. It's all those things. However, one of the biggest levers is eating enough. So severe caloric restriction is going to slow down your metabolism. Your thyroid has to feel safe that it can turn T4 to T3. And if you're under chronic stress, it's going to naturally slow that down. It's kind of like a protective response. It's like the thyroid is like, okay, we're under a lot of stress. We're not getting enough food. Slow everything down. Let's dim the lights. And that's why you become fatigued, to essentially conserve the energy that you do have. The protein part of this is crucial too, because there are key enzymes that are made from protein that are in the T4, T3 conversion process. Managing blood sugars too is crucial as well. There's a strong relationship between blood sugar dysregulation and low thyroid. And then you're just making sure you have the ingredients to sort of bake the cake. So you need micronutrients such as selenium, iron, zinc. You need iodine too, just to create thyroid hormone in the first place. A lot of diets are deficient in a lot of these things. Unfortunately, our soils are depleted of a lot of these nutrients. This is where, for a lot of us, we have to supplement unless you're really good about sourcing your food and hitting farmers markets. Unfortunately, sort of modern agriculture is deplete of nutrients in the soil. Paying attention to your HRV, which is your recovery metric, if you're using an Oura Ring or Whoop, is really important. So if your HRV is chronically low, that's a sign that something's off balance. Either you're overtraining or undersleeping, or there's too much stress in the system, and that's going to tank your thyroid. So let's get into some of the micronutrients and what food sources are available. So first off, selenium. So selenium is directly required for the enzymes that convert T4 into T3. So Brazil nuts are very high. It only takes like one or two of those a day. You want to be careful because there is such thing as a selenium toxicity. Sardines are high, salmon, tuna, shrimp, eggs, grass-fed beef, turkey, and chicken. Iodine-rich foods, and remember iodine is essential for making thyroid hormone in the first place. So if you have too little, that can impair your output. Well, we've got things like seaweed, like nori, or wakame. Iodized salt, that's important too. So a lot of people have switched from regular table salt to Himalayan sea salts. Well, that doesn't have the iodine in it. So the government years ago recognized that iodine deficiency is common. That's how goiters are created or manifest. So they spray table salt with iodine just to kind of take care of that problem. So if you've eliminated regular table salt, then chances are you probably have not enough iodine. Also cod, shrimp, dairy products such as milk, yogurt, and cheese, and eggs are all pretty rich in iodine. Zinc. So zinc helps with thyroid hormone and the transport and the receptor activity of it. So for that, we've got oysters, beef, lamb, pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, and cashews. And then iron-rich food. Now, just be a little careful with iron. There is iron overload, which is something I deal with. There is a gene that's pretty common that makes it difficult for some people to excrete iron. So you definitely want to check iron and ferritin levels. But if you're low, the foods that are high are red meat, liver, sardines, spinach, especially when you pair it with vitamin C to help process the spinach because it's a non-heme iron, lentils, and beans. And then you want to think about supporting the liver, right? The overall function of the liver, because that's where the T4, T3 conversion happens mostly. So fruits like citrus and berries, root vegetables like potatoes and sweet potatoes, white rice, and any other easy digestible carbohydrates, olive oil, and avocados. So one way you can think about it is that the T4 to T3 conversion, which is a sign of a healthy metabolism, it does well if you're well fed and you have a low stress environment. If you want to learn more about this, or you want to get a comprehensive panel, we've put together a comprehensive panel that you can access online. I will put a link in the show notes. A ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are meant to do. What does this mean? It means exposing yourself to difficult situations so you become resilient. If you need help building resilience, check out our flagship program called Physiologic Flexibility. This is a 3-month do-it-yourself program that teaches you how to maximize your homeostatic regulators, such as your pH, blood glucose, O2 and CO2 tolerance, and temperature. We give you specific action items through the program with the goal of becoming anti-fragile. If you want to become the inspiration for your friends and family, this is the program for you.